if you're a person where you feel like you're in your 40s or maybe 50s and you look like, or you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel like, you know what, I think my best days might be behind me. If you've ever said that, or you feel like being in great shape is out or incongruent with crushing it in business or spending time with your family, we're going to talk about how to do it without spending your life away, because this shouldn't be something that takes away from your life.
Welcome to the Legendary Life Podcast, where it's all about taking control of your health, losing fat, transforming your body, and living the life you deserve with celebrity fitness trainer and longevity enthusiast, Ted Ryce. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Unstoppable After 40 Blueprint here. This is the masterclass where we're going to go into the super simple 4-step process our clients are using to lose fat, transform their bodies, and supercharge their energy. So let's talk about who this is for. If you're someone, if you've been prioritizing other areas of your life and you're looking to get your health in order, you've got a great career or you're running a successful business and you realize that you've kind of neglected your health, and you know that is, let's say, the last unconquered area. You have a great business or career, relationships are going well for you, but you know that getting your health in order would take you to the next level, not just with yourself, but also in those other areas. And what we're going to be going over here is how to lose 20 to 30 pounds of unwanted body fat. And we're going to talk about the 4-step and really 5-step process of doing it without any of the quick fixes that you hear about on social media, the detoxes, the cleanses, the intermittent fasting, the cutting out all the carbs, or any of those other quick fixes that you might have tried, but really don't work long-term. And if you're a person where you feel like you're in your 40s or maybe 50s and you look like, or you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel like, you know what, I think my best days might be behind me. If you've ever said that, or you feel like being in great shape is out or incongruent with crushing it in business or spending time with your family, we're going to talk about how to do it without spending your life away, because this shouldn't be something that takes away from your life. It should be something that improves other areas of your life. It should improve your relationships. It should make you more present. It should make you more, you should be feeling better when you do this properly. And when you feel better, as you know, you show up differently in your career, in your business, in your relationships, for your children, for your spouse. So we're going to talk about that. And what I also want to say, we're not going to be talking about how to, again, work harder. We're going to be talking about how to put this in the context of a busy life. All right. So another thing I want to tell you is I'm not going to sell anything on this masterclass. So there's not going to be any like, well, here, buy my course for $497 or anything like that. But I do have an invitation for those of you who resonate with information and want more help. If you want my help to take your health to the next level, I got a cool invitation for you. And again, I want to return to this idea. So many of the people that I talk to feel like they're past their prime. They're not going to get it back. And maybe you might believe it's because of your age, your slow metabolism, or hormones. And I want to let you know I've been there, except it happened to me in my 30s. Actually mid 30s. I hit a wall. I was fat, of 24% body fat to be specific. That's 1% away from being obese. Even though you would have looked at me and said, "Oh, well, I think you look decent. I think you look better than a lot of Americans." And that's another side topic, is that our culture in the United States, we've become so accepting of poor health. It's created a new standard. And so you might see someone who is actually almost obese and say, "Hey, you look better than Bob," or "You look better than Nancy." But the reality was that I had high blood sugar. I was pre-diabetic. That's terrible. That's 100% preventable. but I believed it wasn't at the time. I believed I had hit a wall and maybe my genes, I really did believe this. I believed that my genes were working against me. Like, oh, well, some people get old at 55. I'm getting old at 35. And I want to also talk to you if you feel like enjoying your lifestyle that you've worked so hard to create, going out to eat, going on vacations, drinking the Opus One, eating the tomahawk ribeyes in the steakhouse, hanging with your other successful friends, if that seems out of like that isn't congruent with getting in shape. So you just kind of give up, right? If you don't see being in shape and doing those things sometimes as two things that can go together. And the real problem here is you're not really, it's mindset. You don't understand what you need to do. And when I share with you the 5 steps that you need to make here to take your results to the next level, you're going to understand. Now, I'm not going to dive super deep into each one of these because we have a limited amount of time together. But what I do want to tell you is this: you've got to have the big picture. And then as I go through these steps, I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to do here? Because a lot of this is just a shift in mindset. Certainly the strategies matter, but it's the shift in the mindsets, in the way you're looking at this situation and how to solve your health situation. And in case you don't know who I am, I just want to talk briefly. It's kind of funny. Some people have said to me, oh, well, you're all into this marketing and you're really strong with the marketing. But look, I'm not a great marketer because I'm not an internet marketer. I've been working with people. I want you to stop and listen to this. I've been working with people for 23 years in person. I've been forced to learn this other stuff because I can't just say, hey, I worked for 23 years helping people create massive breakthroughs with their health, because you won't listen. I've had to learn how to present this in a different way. So if I come across in a certain way, just understand, like, I'm a coach. I've had to learn all this other business stuff so I can connect with you and connect with people who need help. But I've got a degree in biology. I was going to be a medical doctor, decided that giving drugs to people to solve their lifestyle issues wasn't for me. And some people know me because I've trained celebrities like Robert Downey Jr. I helped him get in shape for his first Ironman movie when he was visiting Miami Beach. I was the trainer that he worked with there when he'd spent a couple months. I worked with Richard Branson and Joan Branson. Actually, only met Richard once. He called me a fit bastard, which I took to be a great compliment. I helped Ricky get in shape for one of his tours, trained him for the better part of a year until he ended up moving. And what I'm really good at is boiling down the principles. Now, I haven't always been good at this, but again, I've been in this business for 23 years and I've been working on understanding, like, hey, what really matters here? What are the things, the principles that we need to do to get the results that we want? And what's the minimum amount of work that we need to do to make it happen? And how do we put that into the context of a busy life? And that's what I'm great at. And again, I have my own journey through this and I've shared a little bit about it. And what I want to tell you is, if you follow what I'm going to share with you today, if you just shift your mindset about some of the things that I'm going to share with you here, you're going to get better results. So let's jump into it. And the first step is assessment. You've got to get an idea of where you are, right? So many people that come into my program, they don't know their body fat. Some people haven't stepped on the scale for a while. And what I want to tell you is this: just like if you're running a company, or if you're an executive in a company, or if you're an entrepreneur and you're running your own business, you got to know your numbers. You got to know your numbers, or else how do you know where you are and if you're improving? So what are the things that we want to know here? Of course, your weight. We want to know also your waist circumference. Another thing that's important, if we can, body fat percentage. Like I told you, I was 24% body fat. How do we do that? Well, InBody, you can Google InBody or DEXA scan. There's also hydrostatic weighing and bod pod. And another thing that we want you to do is to track your nutrition and track your workouts. And this doesn't have to be, now we use an app for this. We use MyFitnessPal. It's a free app. You can download it and start tracking today. Track your workouts. You can use, I use my app for this, and my clients use my app for this. You can use a note app on your phone, right? So we want to get an idea of where you're starting at. And we can even put in here blood work. Don't get too crazy here. We're just talking about checkup. Do you have elevated cholesterol levels? Do you have elevated blood sugar levels? Those are issues. Those are red light on or engine light on issues. If your engine light comes on your car, do you keep driving it? Well, I hope not. I did that when I was in my 20s. Guess what? The car blew up on me. I was without a car for a while. That was when I bought my first new car. It was a really tough lesson. But here's the thing. When your body blows up on you, that's a lesson that not only is a hard one to learn, but you don't come back from that. When you get a knee replaced, it's never the same. When you have a heart attack, when you get diabetes, those are all things that you can't just go and buy a new car and have it all be fine. You can't just buy replacement parts. The replacement parts for your body don't work as good as the ones that you're born with. And some parts you can never replace, at least not where medical technology is now. In the future, lab-grown organs and transplants, okay, right? But that's not where we are right now. So the first step is assessment. You have to know where you are. One thing I want to say about this too is if you're one of those people who've been resistant to looking at what you're doing, what you're really trying to say is you don't want to know the truth. And if that's your case, then what I would tell you is maybe this isn't the right masterclass for you. Maybe some mindset work is where you need to be. Because if you're afraid of the truth, that's a whole other issue. And of course, if you're not taking action on this, in fact, a lot of my clients don't, then you're going to need help. Now, if you already know that you want help with this, what I would tell you is this: go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and sign up for a 15-minute call. If you're already here and you already know, man, I'm looking at this. I see what you're asking me to do. I don't know my numbers, but I know I need to know my numbers. I need some assistance. Go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and sign up for that 15-minute call. Okay. And then we can hop on a call and talk about what it might look like to get your health on track. And if you want some assistance with that, if we feel like we're a good fit, we can talk about working together. Now let's move on to the second step, is burn fat. What do we need to do to burn fat? We're talking about nutrition. More specifically, we're talking about a calorie deficit. How do we do that? Well, that's why we track nutrition. There's other ways of doing it, but here's why I like tracking nutrition. And again, you can go right now and download MyFitnessPal and start tracking. If you want more in-depth on how to use MyFitnessPal, well, I've done other trainings on that. That's for another time. But are you already tracking? And I'll tell you why tracking is the way. Because if you are, and now there's all sorts of different ways that you can go about this. And they're all tools. There's nothing wrong with doing keto. There's nothing wrong with low carb diets. There's nothing wrong with Atkins. There's nothing wrong with those things. Why I like tracking, why I think it's the next level is because intermittent fasting isn't the solution. It's a strategy. What do I mean by that? Well, you can cut calories. Here's the thing. People do intermittent fasting, and for some people it works. Now, I also want to be clear. What is my standard? I'm talking about getting into awesome shape. If you just want to lose 5 pounds, again, this isn't the right masterclass for you, right? Just do intermittent fasting. You know what I mean? Just cut carbs. Just cut out the junk food. Just don't go out to eat. Just eat at home. But if you've tried those things and you want to get into, for me, my standard is I want to see veins on my abs. I want to be in amazing shape. And I want to go out and eat at the restaurant that has the chef's name on the dessert menu. That's one of the things I do. I like to eat in nice restaurants. I enjoy food. Food is more than just fuel. It's a way to enjoy life. I've been all around the world, and I'll tell you, everyone is the same. Every culture is the same. Good food is way more than just fuel. And what I would say to you is if you have that same belief too, and you want to know, well, how can I squeeze in some alcohol? I've tried the Whole30, but I can't be that strict. I've tried low carb diets, but I love carbs. And the idea that I'm never going to eat dessert again just isn't really feasible for me. Tracking your nutrition allows you to dial in everything. It's not that you have to do it for the rest of your life, but you've got to do it enough. It's the next level. It's the next level strategy that can help you eat whatever you want. One of my clients told me recently, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the fourth step here, is he likes to eat, or his children like to eat, Chick-fil-A Fridays. If you tell that to a lot of nutrition people, they'll say, oh, that's horrible. You're feeding your kids fast food. That's horrible. Listen, number one, it's the overall diet someone has, and not even just diet. We get obsessed with diet, but the overall lifestyle someone has. Can you eat a perfect diet and have a miserable marriage and have a drinking problem and a gambling, and you're a gambling addict? You can have other areas of your life that are a mess and sleep 5 hours a night. Nutrition isn't everything, but it is, when we're talking about fat loss, it is the key. So I just wanted to present some context with you. And if that doesn't sit right with you, then you're listening to the wrong person, right? I don't believe in those extremes. I believe we need to do the right thing most of the time. And then sometimes we're going to be eating Chick-fil-A with our family on Fridays. Okay. So the way tracking allows us to do things like that. And that's what my client said. He's like, if I had to give that up, it would really ruin my connection with my kids because they love it. But I'm able to do it with what you're teaching me. And the next thing we need to do is we need to control hunger, right? Because it's not just the calories are the key. The calories are the key. But what does that look like when you're applying it in your life? Well, you can't just eat 2 pints of ice cream a day and be okay because, hey, you're underneath your calories. Because what will happen is you'll start to struggle with some hunger. And hunger is the name of the game when it comes to fat loss. If you can control your hunger, you're going to win this game. If you can't, you're going to lose. You might win for a little while. You'll win some battles, but you're going to lose the war. You've got to win the war with hunger. And the way to win the war with hunger is really kind of like more like make peace with it. And the peace that you need to make is that there are 3 things that influence your hunger. And this is in my hunger control system, which I teach my clients. And I'm just going to go over a few things here, but 3 things influence hunger. I'm just going to go into the food choices, but there's food choices. There are sleep and stress. And what I will tell you here that you can use right now is Google Satiety Index. And that'll give you a list of foods that was studied that influence satiety. In other words, what's satiety? It's your sense of fullness after eating. And study index and incorporate, let's say, high satiety foods. Study the index, incorporate high satiety foods. Okay. I'm not going to go into stress and sleep. All right. And those are the things that we need to do. We need to create a deficit and we need to control our hunger. So the third step is build muscle. Building muscle does a few things. Okay. One, it helps keep our metabolic rate up and helps keep our function. So here's the thing. The first one helps keep our metabolic rate up. What does that mean? That means, let's say you're a 220 pound. Well, you know what? I'll say it like this. Let's say that you're at a stoplight and there's a big truck on one side and then a small sedan on the other. Which of those vehicles is using up more gas at the stoplight? And the answer is the big truck. Why? More moving parts. Well, people are the same way. So as we lose weight, we actually drop our metabolic rate. Now that's normal. Why? Because if you took your truck and you took the engine out and put a smaller engine, and then, nobody would actually do this, but just to keep with this analogy we're making, if you took the engine out, put a smaller engine, if you decreased the size of the body so it weighed less. All of a sudden, you're using less gas to go around. And that's what happens with people. Overweight people and obese people actually have high metabolic rates. Actually, people with large muscles also have high metabolic rates. So in a body transformation program, you actually don't want your weight to change as much as you might think. You want your fat to come down and your muscle to go up. And what that might look like is this. You might lose 4 pounds on the scale in 2 months, like one of my clients. But when we looked at what actually happened on his DEXA scan, and that's why doing a body fat test is so important, we saw that he gained 6 pounds of muscle and he lost 10 pounds of fat. So think about that. Lost 10 pounds of fat. Awesome. Gained 6 pounds of muscle. Also awesome. But if you were him and you stepped on the scale and only saw a 4 pound change when you've been doing everything right, you're going to look at that and say, wow, that's a lot of work. 2 months of work for only 4 pounds, which is really slow progress, not worth paying for, except it wasn't. And so many people, and I hope you're hearing me. If you're one of these people, so many people will give up when they step on the scale and they don't see a big change. But in the past, they weren't working out and now they're working out. That muscle is going to come back quick. If you've been, and the bad news when you're out of shape is that you're out of shape. And it's a bit of work to get back into shape because you have to start new habits. It's really the habits that are the toughest thing, but you actually get results super quick. That's the good part. So if you're behind on your workouts by a couple months or maybe a couple of years, you are primed to make some serious progress fast. All right. And it helps keep your function. This is kind of more of a longevity thing, but you're going to be able to do more. And when you have more muscle, when you're stronger, all of a sudden taking a bunch of flights of steps or going for walks doesn't feel like such a challenge. And all of a sudden you're getting up more, you're moving around more. And this helps you as well. So you feel better. And what I use is my max muscle, what I call my max muscle stimulation method. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details, but I will tell you the two main things here. Actually, I'll just share the number one thing, working your muscles to, let's say, close to failure on every set of exercise. And so I should back up and say this: lifting weights is the best exercise for fat loss, in case we weren't already clear on that. Lifting weights is the best exercise for fat loss because it helps keep your metabolic rate up, right? There's another thing here that I'll just share briefly. I was talking to someone and they were telling me what they were doing for exercise. They were like, oh, I'm going running 3 times a week. And running burns energy when you do it. And then I asked her, well, how often have you done it in the past month? She said, well, I was really on track and I was doing 3 times a week for a few months, but in the past month, I think I've only done it about twice. And so what happens is you increase your calorie burn and then all of a sudden you bring it back down and the weight starts to creep back on. But it's different. When you build muscle, it's much easier to keep. Whereas cardio does not build muscle, it just burns energy. Now, cardio is great for your health. I'm not going to talk about that. It's good for your brain. Not going to talk about that. We're going to stay focused on fat loss. But just if you weren't clear, lifting weights is the way to change your body. It is the number one best way to exercise for fat loss, lifting weights. No, you won't get bulky. If you're bulky, you just have more fat that you need to lose than you realize, or you're not eating in a calorie deficit. So working your muscles close to failure on every set of exercise. And here's why I want to share this with you, because if you're like my client, Barbara, who only works out 10 to 15 minutes 3 times a week in her office with dumbbells, or if you're like one of my previous clients, Kevin, who used to spend an hour 5 times a week in the gym, this is the number one thing that you need to do. I don't care if you do 1 set. I don't care if you do 5 sets. You've got to do this on every single set or you're wasting your time. Oh, but I did 100 reps. Did you work close to failure? Yes or no? That's the only thing that matters. Oh, but I lift 300 pounds. Did you work close to failure? Yes or no? I don't care if it was 800 pounds or 5,000 reps or any number that you can come up with. If you're not working close to failure, then it doesn't matter. Oh, but I was really out of breath. Great. Were you doing cardio? Because what you're talking about is cardiorespiratory effect. So if you didn't work your muscles close to failure, then it doesn't matter. Not for building muscle. Now it matters for your health and matters for other things, but not for building muscle. And the second most important thing, doing more than what you did last time. And this is where tracking comes in. And it's so important. Are you doing more reps with the same weight? Or are you adding some weight and challenging yourself? You have to challenge yourself to change yourself. And one of the things that I see with even my clients is I coach them on this. And then I look at their numbers. I'm like, you're doing the same amount of reps with the same weight. And you've done that for 2 weeks now. If you don't challenge yourself, you don't change yourself. So you must do more than what you did last time. And how do you know that? You track. Again, I use an app, my app. I've never even used another app to do it. Before I used my app, I was writing it down in a notebook. So I don't have any good app recommendations, but you can just write it down, or you can Google apps, workout apps, and track what you're doing. If you're not doing these two things, then you're not serious about changing yourself. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste the time. Well, you're wasting time in the gym already if you're not doing this. And so that's what I would tell you. Again, if your body isn't that big of a deal, or if you're not looking to change your body, that's totally cool. No judgments if you're not tracking. But if you're, look, this is one of the few things. I've been in this business 23 years. I've tried more things than I can remember. Seriously, I've done crazy experiments with exercise. And what I'll tell you is tracking is the key. It's what I do. If I'm strapped, and the more strapped you are for time, the more important it is. Now, there's a few other things, is special techniques. Now, I don't have time to go into that today, but special techniques, myo reps, cluster sets, supersets. There's a bunch of different techniques that can give you better results for the same amount of time or less time. But here's the thing. I don't want you to focus on that, because it would actually take me a while to teach you these things. And I want you to have the big picture here. Maybe I'll do a training in the future on special techniques. If that's something that interests you, I can do that, but you got to let me know what you want to hear. However, if you just do what I just showed you here, working your muscles close to failure and doing more than what you did last time, if you do this, you're going to see massive change in your body. Let's talk about the fourth step, which is sustainability. So here's what people don't tell you. The first, there's a difference between losing weight and keeping it off. This is a whole nother skill, sustainability. And it's something that I coach my clients on, because here's the thing. Even my clients who have me, an expert of 23 years of experience, and let me tell you, I'm at the top of my game. I've never been a better coach. That said, people still struggle, even though they're getting coaching from me. It's still a challenge. And part of it is, look, once you join the coaching program, you're high in motivation. You're like, I just joined the coaching program, just invested myself, and I'm highly motivated. I got to get a return on the money that I just put down. And guess what? They do. Every single person. But that's when things get challenging. When you lose 10 pounds, it takes the pressure off. Hey, I lost 10 pounds. Let me relax a little bit. And what started out as being very new and exciting also loses its novelty. And so now it's just a bit more routine. And it's pushing past that conscious incompetence phase into that conscious competence phase. If we're talking about the 4 stages of mastery, in case you don't know it, we're talking about going from unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, which is where my typing is today, and then conscious competence, and then unconscious incompetent or unconscious competence. And so what are we talking about there? We're talking about going from I don't know what I don't know. Then we're talking about, gosh, I suck at this. And then we're talking about, hey, I'm getting good at this. Then we're talking about, it's just what I do. It's just what I do. Hey, how do you do that? I don't know. I just do it. How are you in such good shape? I don't know. how is it that you work out all the time? Well, I just do it. And so these are the 4 stages of mastery. And what we're trying to do is get you to that phase where it's just part of who you are. And this is the identity level change, right? That's what we want to get to. Like, if you've ever known vegans, how hard is it for them to stay vegan? How hard it is for them to not eat meat? Now, there is a little bit of an issue here because veganism, a lot of vegans actually give it up after a while. But while they're in the zone with it, they don't think about this. They're not tempted to eat meat. If you ever talk to them, they're like, in fact, what they're more passionate about is telling you why they don't eat meat, why you shouldn't eat meat either. And now I'm not telling you to be vegan. I'm just giving an example. Like, for me, it's harder for me not to exercise. It's harder for me not to be lean than it is for me to be overweight or to be sedentary. It's really tough to skip workouts. I feel a big difference. I feel like something's missing. Okay. And I mean, in a healthy way. I don't hurt myself with workouts anymore. What I'm telling you is I feel like, I'm not feeling my best here. I need to go do something. And so when we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about working at it until you make this identity shift, this identity level change. Another thing is the 75-25 rule. What is that? Actually, one of my clients helped me come up with this. He's the one who, shout out to Kyle. Kyle said, you know what? 75% of the meals that I eat are just they're not something I'm really thinking about. I need to put food in my face so that I'm not distracted by hunger. I need to eat food so that I can work and take care of my kids and not be distracted by hunger. That's 75% of the time. And that's for most of us. Then the 25% of our time, it's having Chick-fil-A Fridays with our kids. It's having Taco Tuesdays with our family. It's going out for the anniversary. It's sharing a piece of birthday cake with your daughter on her birthday. And what I want to tell you is, when you learn what your 75-25 is, it becomes very easy. And here's the thing. Most people think that it's the birthday cake that they're sharing with their daughter. They'll skip out on sharing the birthday cake. But what they don't realize is the salads that they're having for dinner are 1,000 calories because of all the cheese, oil, and nuts in them. It's like, that's why tracking is so important. It allows you to take an inventory of, just like your budget, where are you spending your money? When you look at it, you're like, man, I am spending a lot of money on eating out at this restaurant that I don't even like. I'm just too busy to think about anything else, or whatever it is for you. That's maybe not the best example, but the issue is this: when you see that you're spending your calorie budget on things that don't really matter to you, then you can start to change what those are. Like, for me, for breakfast today, it wasn't one of my 25% meals. It was one of my 75% meals. So I had tomato soup, really low calorie tomato soup. It's a really big portion for very low calories. I had 0% fat Greek yogurt, not super delicious, but again, I'm eating so that I can come and do my work and crush this masterclass and not worry about hunger distracting me. So I would ask you, what are the 75% of the meals that you're eating, and how can you make them lower calorie? And then so that you can enjoy whatever you want on the 25%, because that's possible. And the 5th step is invest in coaching. If you are having trouble doing this and you want it to move, or you're getting results, but you want it to move faster, invest in coaching. Coaching makes the results come faster. In fact, I'm really a teacher as much as a coach. Coaching, it's kind of like, come on, you can do it. But really what I do is I teach you these things, then I coach you on how to implement them in your life. But whatever area you want to step up in, invest in coaching. If you want to step up in, like a lot of my clients, what they do business coaching for their business. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. They all do business coaching. If you want a better relationship, investing in marriage counseling or some type of pre-marriage counseling, those are the types of things that take your life to the next level. And certainly the same is true with health. In fact, I invested in a coach myself when I went through my own body transformation in 2019. And what I learned from that, it changed not just my health and how I approach nutrition, but it also changed my business as well. Changed the way I was showing up in my business. Now it's a little bit different because it was very specific. I coach people on body transformations too. But if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have the business and the client success stories that I have. So whatever you're looking to do, invest in coaching if you want to move faster. Now, look, I'll be very honest with you. If you just want to lose 5 or 10 pounds, you don't need coaching for that. You can do that by taking what I've shared with you today and just applying it in your life. What is the 1 to 3 things that you heard today that you're like, that I'm not doing, let me go do that. Or I need to think about that differently. What are the 1 to 3 things that you learned from listening to this today that you can go apply? Because if you want to lose 5 or 10 pounds, it's not that hard. You don't need me for that. However, if you have a big goal, if you need to lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, if you want to take your physique to the next level, if you have a goal like me, you want to walk around, if you want to eat at restaurants and walk around with veins showing on your abs, that's possible for you. But without coaching, not very probable. 70% of the people in the United States, and it's roughly the same, I think, in the UK and Australia, in Canada, they're overweight or obese. And despite all the gym memberships, personal training, et cetera, people aren't getting the results. And this is something that frustrated me as a coach, as a personal trainer. And it's why I moved into this way of coaching. I don't come and count your reps for you anymore. I teach you what to do and make sure you do it. And if there's an issue, we solve that problem. And as a result, look, I can say what I want here, but if you've seen my before and afters, you know I have some incredible before and afters. And just to be clear, it wasn't all me. It was 50-50, right? They have to do the work. I have incredible clients. And if you feel like that's the type of thing, some of the before and afters that you've seen, that's the type of result you want, getting there on your own is probably not going to happen. And if you don't believe me, that's cool. Go and try it. But if maybe in 10 years, you'll figure it out, 5 or 10 years. But if you want to make things move fast, or if you're pretty sure, hey, I can do this, but I don't know how I'm going to do it on my own. I just don't know all the steps. And more importantly, I don't have time to figure it out. Those are the clients who I help. They're like, Ted, just give me step by step. Tell me what to do. I'll go and do it. And if I can't do it for some reason, help me come up with another approach. But I want the results. And that's what I help my clients do. All right. So that wraps up everything. And what I would love to tell you is, if you resonated with what I've shared with you today, go ahead and go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply. That's legendarylifeprogram.com/apply. And apply for that 15-minute call. And on that 15-minute call, what we'll do is we'll game plan how a routine might look for you to achieve the results that you want. And the call is totally free. And the reason I'm doing this is, number one, it's my way of giving back. I actually love to hop on calls and help people. And the second way is this. Second reason is this. You might want some help achieving your goals. And you might be wondering, hey, is Ted the right person to do it? And if we end up working together, I'm going to put you through the same successful strategies that I take my clients through to achieve the results that you've seen in so many of the before and afters, or all of them really. And so if you're looking for that level of assistance because you have a big goal with your health, and again, this isn't even a sales call. I'm only looking to work with the right clients. So if you feel like it's not for you, that's totally fine. No pressure. But if you feel like, hey, there might be something here, I just want to find out some more information. I want to see if it's a good fit for me. Go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and sign up for that 15-minute call. Hope you enjoyed today's masterclass. Go crush it. And again, if you're feeling called to take your health to that next level, if you got a big goal, don't wait. Go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and sign up for that 15-minute call. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Have an amazing week and speak to you on Friday.